On today's very special episode, Mike and Ryan talk beach beers on the beach. Cheers.
Hi, and welcome to a special bonus episode of the Brewthers-In-Law podcast. Ryan and I found ourselves on the beach in Lexington, Michigan, enjoying some delightfully refreshing beach beers. And hey, look at that. Ryan happened to have his recording equipment with him.
It's like magic.
It's like magic.
I swear.
Almost as if it was actually planned. So we thought we would take this time to talk a little bit about ideal beach beers. And so because of that, for the first sip today, Ryan.
Yes.
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 So for the first sip today, the topic is going to be ideal beach snacks, because to me, nothing really accents a nice beach beer like some snacks. So what is your ideal situation? You're sitting enjoying your favorite beach beer. You're a little hungry. What are you snacking on?
I'm going to keep it real simple. Usually, actually, when we do come up to here, our father-in-law always brings a giant bag of mini bags of chips, and those are the perfect snacks. Light, refreshing, pre-portioned, so we don't eat too many of them unless we eat just all of them at once. But the Cheetos, Doritos, Fritos, the Lay's, like whatever
Cool Ranch Doritos.
Cool Ranch Doritos.
Yeah, that would be my choice.
What about you?
For me, it's got to be Pringles and or the Lay's stacks.
Yeah, you do bring those
anything in that. Dude, we always, that's like our snack that we bring. They just travel so easily. They're not pre-portioned, so they're a little dangerous.
They are.
But and they're just perfect. I don't know. They're just flavorful enough. They cart to and from the beach easily. If they get a little wet, like they're protected.
It's got like a tin, almost not like an actual like metal, but like a little more protection.
Yeah.
Than just
a little more. Yeah. Yep. So that's probably mine. Resealable for taking down with you in the morning and then back in the afternoon.
Exactly. No, I agree 100%. We were talking about this earlier. I bought combos this year for like an extra snack, but you always bring the Pringles or the Lay's stacks, different flavors.
It's our calling card.
It is. I give you that.
It's one of them.
Yeah, one of them. We do a lot. We each have a different set of calling cards, what we cook and bring and everything else. So let's start. I don't have any listener feedback because one of my favorite things about being up here is that there's no cell service. So we're kind of isolated. So I can't really bring up my phone to do any cell service. To pull up any listener feedback.
And you know what? This is a bonus episode anyway. Cut
exactly.
us a break.
So yeah, we'll move on. We'll save it for next time for the actual opener of the season. So let's dive into. We're going to do official top 10 in no particular real order, I think, but like each of us doing a top 5 of favorite beach beers. I'm gonna have you go first.
You're gonna have me go first.
Yes.
Okay.
So go for it. What is number 5 or whatever order you want to do it?
Well, I'm going to start with probably, so I'm right at the moment I'm drinking Modelo Especial, and I've actually never had one before. It's yummy. I like it.
It's not bad. I prefer the darker version myself, but
yeah, well, me too. But I'm just going to say, broadly speaking, the obvious choice is like pale Mexican International Pale Lager. So my personal favorite choice is probably Tecate. Just the combination of it tastes good and it's easy to find. Mm-hmm. I know that I believe there are a couple that you might be bringing up later that are a bit trickier to find, but I just love me some Tecate. But really any of them, like the Light Dos Equis, Modelo, even like Sol. Do you remember when's the last time you've had a land shark?
Never.
No, really?
No, I did once, and it tasted like Corona to me. So
I had them a long time ago. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I will say with the caveat, I do not like Corona.
I'm sorry, everybody.
And Land Shark also is. It is also like the kind of clear bottle, but I don't really remember it.
But Sol is the same thing, but I like Sol. Sol has a little more flavor to it, I think.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it will, or maybe it's the way they transport or something. But yeah, it doesn't end up having as skunky a flavor.
No, agreed.
But yeah, so again, I think that's sort of obvious. I wanted to ask you. I was kind of curious about this. So we're actually going to do an episode sometime in season 2 probably about international pale lagers. But there's a very related style. Like if Mexican lagers are sort of, Mexican restaurant drinks, there is a close analog. If you go to hibachi or like a sushi grill, you'll end up getting a kind of Japanese version of the same
Sapporo,
thing,
yeah.
something like Sapporo or Kirin Ichiban or Asahi.
Mhm.
How do you think that would drink on the beach?
I honestly think, well, Kirin Ichiban, you got to be careful because I actually made the mistake. I got the full malt one,
Oh,
and so it's a little heavier. It's still good, but definitely not for a beach. But no, I actually would agree. I think a light lager in general is really, really good for the
Yeah.
beach.
I actually wondered. I have some Asahi at home, and I was debating bringing one. But Haley and I had my first one obviously with food, with
Yeah.
stir fry, and it was incredible. But that beer is so dry, it
True.
leaves your mouth almost feeling like not just like ready for another sip, but like thirsty.
That's
And so
the
it works
idea.
really
That's
well.
what you're supposed to
Well,
feel.
I get that, but it was almost like too dry for the beach. So
Okay.
so I didn't end up bringing it with me. I was like, this is probably just better utilized with food rather than just like when I'm sitting down on the sand.
Yeah, no, I can buy that.
I just thought I'd bring that up because, I just thought it was interesting, and I really thought about bringing one with me. Okay, what's your first?
My first one is actually going to be in my hand as well. It is the darker version of yours. It is Modelo Negra. It is almost as light as yours, I would say, but still very drinkable.
Almost as light in terms of like body, right?
Body
Not
wise,
color.
color wise, no, it's definitely a lot darker. This is probably my number one. This Mexican beer,
It is a
general.
great beach
It is
beer.
a great beach beer.
For me, I've started to associate it with like I love having one like when we come up from the beach and like if we're gonna hit the hot tub or just kind of chill on the porch
Yes, that's a good
in
one.
the sun, kind of in the afternoon. That's like my spot for Modelo Negra.
Well, it is the afternoon. Just haven't cracked
You're
the
right.
hot tub yet.
It is the afternoon. So sort of to build on that a little bit, Modelo Negra is probably the darkest Mexican lager. But what are your feelings on some of the other? I know that you're not huge on Dos Equis Amber, which
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of. But do you like some of the other like kind of darker, more ambery Mexican lager styles?
I do. So I'm very.
like if you couldn't
guess I
get
would say
Modelo
picky.
Negra, what would be your substitute?
I would probably say, and it's definitely harder to find. Like, but their website actually, they do have a website locator, so you can find a place, not only a restaurant that serves it, but a store that sells it. Bohemia, it's not quite a light lager like a Corona or Sola.
Oh, I thought that it was.
No, it's a little bit darker. It's kind of almost like a Dos Equis Amber, like that
Okay.
same color.
Yeah, kind of like a light
maybe
amber.
a little lighter, but it's on that same pale. It's just hard to find. I do have some for this weekend, which I was very happy to find a 6-pack of it. But it's also a great beer. I didn't bring that one up just because A, I don't drink it because it is hard to find, and B, I just wanted to have choices that are easy to find for people no matter where you're at. So
Well, I think, maybe we'll kind of continue what we've been doing. And for each one, we can kind of discuss, this.
similar.
Yeah, exactly.
Notable choices that you can use instead of the one that we said. Yeah, I like that. I think
Yeah.
that's good.
So,
What you
okay.
got next?
So my next choice, I'm going to switch it up a little bit, is one that is very local. It's Pontoon Pale Ale by Kickstand Brewing. Kickstand is like my local brewery.
Oh yeah, that is right down the street from you. Pretty much.
Pontoon Pale Ale is just a nice, it's probably kind of sort of that light caramel color like we were just talking about. To me, a pale ale is a great beach beer. Most IPAs are not. People might disagree with that. Like
there are some IPAs I will say, but
hop flavor is really citrusy, but a full-on IPA, a traditional IPA, to me is it's heavy.
You need
it's
a
heavy,
session.
yeah.
That's what you need.
So,
So
yeah,
like, it's
I would
a little
say-
lighter in IBUs, a lighter in ABV.
Yeah, and so Pontoon is really nice. It's got like a kind of traditional citrusy, kind of grapefruit with light pine notes, kind of hop flavor. Just really refreshing, not too heavy. I think that like Sierra Nevada's Pale Ale, which is like
Yeah.
kind of
Oh, that's
the standard kind of classic Pale Ale, is another great option. But yeah, I think Pale Ales work really well. And then I agree with you, session IPAs, something like Founders All Day, Bell's Lighthearted.
Yep.
Trying to think of an example not from Michigan, but
I know, right?
Michigan makes some good ones.
I think
there are a lot of session IPAs.
Another
you can
IPA
get
that's really good would be like a New England IPA, where it is more fruity, more tropical, not as hoppy still. It's juicier.
I would disagree. For personal preference, I don't know that I'd want a New England on the beach. They're a little heavy for me. But I would say I could maybe do a Brut IPA, though again, that kind of dry champagne finish, kind of like the Asahi, might almost be a little too dry.
No, I got you.
But yeah, I would bet that a lot of people could enjoy New England IPA on the beach.
No, agreed.
For whatever reason, it's just not my preference.
To each their own. Like we just bash completely IPAs, and I know our father-in-law brought a crap ton of them. So
yeah, well, to each his own. He drinks Two Hearted on the beach.
I mean, yeah. So and then he showed me
not a light.
He showed
IPA
me a couple others
book.
that he has in there from more local, but like that. I was like, here, you should try this, and I'm like, I'm trying to go light this year.
Yeah. So Ryan, let me ask you, since that at least I don't want to squander something later on your list, but what would be your like top choice if you wanted to bring a hoppy beach beer?
I don't want to. Well,
or is it on your list?
A hoppy beach beer?
A hoppy beach beer.
I would honestly
kind of along the lines of the pale ale. Yeah.
I would probably say, like, Two Hearted's too much.
It's a great beer.
It is a great beer. No, it's great beer. I love it.
Not a beach beer for us.
I would probably say, oh man, this is tough. I would probably stick with the New England in general. I don't have one off the top of my head. There's a lot of different places that do make them, so you can find them very, very easily now. Or just that's a hazy IPA as well.
Yeah,
it has a more tropical.
Yeah,
not as bitter.
The flavor profile is pretty on point.
Yeah.
For me, a lot of times it's just kind of the creamy sort of texture.
Yep.
I don't know if I would want that on the beach. Okay.
So with that, I'm gonna go to my next one, which
contradict me.
It is an IPA, but you actually already said it. It's the Lighthearted from Bell's. For those not in the Michigan area,
I mean, a lot of people probably know about Bell's.
Bell's, yeah. In the general Midwest area, you should know Bell's. But outside that, if someone is listening to this outside the Midwest area,
you can get Oberon in Florida.
Oh, really? You can?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Two Hearted is a traditional IPA made by Bell's. It is hoppy, but it's like honestly,
it's a classic.
It's a great IPA to have. It's just a little heavy for the beach. They make a lighthearted version, which is
kind of like a low-cal
session, less IBUs, and I can pound it all day. Like it's just like easy to drink.
It's wonderful. Yeah, it's basically like light lager for the IPA lover. Yeah. It's like you can graze on them all day without it going to your head, without it going to your gut.
And like I do call Two Hearted like a kind of a gateway IPA for a lot of people.
It is, yeah. But it got my dad into IPAs.
I know.
Yeah.
But like for those who still may not like it, the Lighthearted is your next step because they'll slowly bring you into it. Yeah. So that'll probably be my next one.
So I kind of lumped Sessions in with Pale Ale, but Sessions really are kind of their own thing because they're like a Pale Ale is definitely maltier than like these session IPAs are usually like pretty light in color as well and very light on the palate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super yummy. I'm trying to, like I said, to me, the big ones are always Lighthearted and all day.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other good examples.
I'm assuming somewhere out West Coast, there's got to be like a light.
Oh, there's like a million of them.
Exactly. Yeah. There's got to be a session IPA. I mean, I make a session IPA. That's the all damn day. Not all damn day. Impatient Bastard. That's that one. It's a session IPA with tangerine peel. So it's a little lighter, easy to drink. It's actually the next one I am going to brew at this point.
Nice.
But yeah, no, it's a great beer to make. It's a great beer to drink. I love that beer.
All right. Well, I'm going to take this in a different direction then.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, did you have more you wanted to say?
No, that's good. Okay. I'm keeping an eye on our time, so I think we're still good. I think we can do...
Oh, sorry, yeah.
We can do one more, and then we'll do a quick break, and then we'll come back and finish them off.
Sounds good. Okay. So, my particular choice is Jolly Pumpkin's Bambeer, which is it's a light sour.
Okay.
Kind of sour beer, like farmhouse style sour beer. Sort of in the style of like a lambic. It's sort of golden color, 4.5%, just super crisp. It's now theirs is a traditional aged sour, so it's not like a kettle sour or like a Goza or a like a what's the other big one? Ryan, help me out here. Berliner Weiss. It's not like that. It's going to have a bit more of that kind of funky Brett character underlying it.
I was gonna say I can't help you with sours.
I know you're not big on sours, but that's like the beautiful thing about Bam beer is it's not like lemon juice sour like a lot of these. It's tart, lightly tart. There's not even any fruit in it. It's just really, really drinkable and like not something you're gonna get sick of. It's again something you can graze on all day. It's a wonderful beer.
Did you bring one?
Yeah,
I know I saw you with the Jolly
I brought
Pumpkin.
a few. I'll pour you out a little bit.
That's it. Might have to try some.
It's as sours go. It's kind of one of a kind, and to me, at least for what you can easily get in this area in America.
Yeah.
Maybe you'd have better luck in Belgium, but
if only we were there.
But I would sort of expand that since it doesn't sound like you'll have much to say about sours. But like,
well, I like sours. I do like sours, but I'm very particular on the sours. So like with this one, I feel like it would be better for me. The usual sours I don't like is the one where I'm literally like I'm sucking on
it's like
a
mouth
warhead.
puckering.
I like warheads. I don't mind warheads, but if I'm going to drink it, it's not going to be that great.
Yeah, I don't love those either. Those are the type of beers I would happily try 3 ounces of in like a sampler at a brewery, but I don't want a whole glass of.
Agreed. Yeah, but in their defense, they usually do pour smaller ones because they are usually stronger.
Often
right?
they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so I would say as another easy to find option, this one would be fruited, but it's Sierra Nevada's. I think it's called Wild Little Thing.
Okay.
It's got like guava and some strawberry and stuff, and they market it as being slightly tart. I think there are a lot of sours you can look out for. Who makes? I think it's Lagunitas makes like a little something something.
A little something, yeah.
I feel like they have one that's sort of a play on that also is like a lightly tart, but most of them that aren't, because so many sours are like really aggressively acidic. A lot of the ones that aren't will blatantly advertise it on the bottle so you know what you're getting.
Okay.
Because some people love that mouth puckering thing.
Oh no.
So they don't want people to go in disappointed. But yeah, I would say anything like that advertises itself as being lightly tart, super refreshing. A lot of them have some really nice fruit flavor added in, but my personal favorite, Bam Beer, doesn't have any of that, and I don't think it needs it.
Okay. Well,
right.
I mean, let's take a pause here. Let's hear some words
from our sponsors.
From our fellow podcasters with 6.5 Media. If you haven't heard, there's a lot of new ones coming out. I was hearing about a bunch of them. Turn by Turn is a great one that just started.
I've listened to a couple of their episodes.
Yeah, I figured you would actually like a lot of their stuff because
yes.
I knew they do Fire Emblem and a couple of other games that you like as well. So, but yeah, let's take a quick break and we'll come back and we'll finish up this top 10 list. So far, no common beers. Like we got close a couple times, but no common beers. So
I have a feeling one's coming.
I know one's coming. So with that said, let's go to a quick break and we'll be right back.
One heist, 6 plots for betrayal. When Raya Cautela cons 5 other thieves into helping her steal a magical artifact from the most powerful man in the world, she knows she's playing with fire. What she doesn't know is that the rest of her crew is just as underhanded as she is, and they all have plans of their own. M.J. Kuhn's Among Thieves, a fantasy heist novel full of twists, turns, and betrayal, available beginning September 7th wherever books are sold. Visit mjkuhn.com for more details.
Welcome to our new podcast. Welcome to our new podcast.
This isn't working.
Agreed. I think we're going to have to do it turn by turn.
Well, now that you mention it, we are a brand new RPG video game podcast.
Our very existence hinges on turn-based gaming.
So join us on the Turn by Turn podcast, where we'll be talking about
Pokemon, Fire Emblem, Golden Sun, Shining Force, Mother, and so many more.
It's your turn to come and join us.
All right, and we are back. So let's continue down the list. I'm going to go next. My next one is actually going to be a very simple type of beer, and it's an American lager. So we have simple ones like obviously Bud Light, Miller Lite, and stuff like that. The one I actually brought with us this year, which is very different, is Stroh's, which is a very old school Detroit beer. It's hard to find, honestly. Detroit? Yeah, we are definitely as white can be. But it's a very good. This one's Stroh's is a little heavier, but like if I had to do an actual choice, I'd probably say Pabst Blue Ribbon is my cheap beer of choice, American lager. It's what I usually do.
Classic lawnmower beer.
Classic lawnmower beer, and that's pretty much what I go with this type of beer.
Yeah. That's funny. It really like the obvious kind of grazing beer is an American light lager. Your favorite Bud Light, Miller Lite, Coors Light.
Well, it's light in color, light in taste, and light in ABV.
I don't think any of us ever actually normally bring them up here. Because I think
I usually bring a PBR or something light.
You?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I haven't noticed, but like for a while, like, just some background. We've been coming up to this same cottage for Ryan and I've been coming up together for almost a decade
years,
now.
Yeah.
With our wife's family. And we have kind of a tradition, they have this wooden furniture downstairs, and we keep all the bottle caps, and then we, nail the bottle caps into the wooden furniture. And we've like made, some neat different things. We made a dragon out of a piece of driftwood.
Yep.
Made like a little table. So for a while, I think part of the reason that I don't end up bringing like real basic beer like that is that there was sort of an arms race for interesting bottle caps.
Budweiser
that went on
was
for
always
like
the one that we
probably
brought.
5 or 6 years.
Bud Heavy was always the one that we brought, because you're obviously easy to find in bottles. Same with Bud Light or something like that. But like I will agree with you. Like I was very happy to find Stroh's in a bottle, and I think it's be a nice bottle cap to put on there. I have found Pabst Blue Ribbon in a bottle before, and I felt like it was just a waste of a bottle because it's just Pabst Blue Ribbon. But no, I agree with you. Like that is usually the downsides to what we usually do bring it, because of the bottle caps.
Yeah. During the break, I discovered a couple of things that I meant to mention and kind of forgot about.
Okay.
This is a good opportunity to throw in one because it's sort of tangential to American Light Lager.
Okay.
And that is Kolsch, which I was going to mention when I mentioned like the other kind of like light Mexican lagers, but particularly, man, I brought up an imported, like out of Germany Kolsch with me. I'm not going to be able to pronounce it, but it's like the Fruh. F-R-U-H with the umlaut, but
Fruh.
Fruh. And man, it's a phenomenal beach beer. Kolsch is excellent, and it's sort of it's adjacent to
A light lager.
a light lager. Again, like low ABV, golden, crisp, really, really drinkable, but it just has a beautiful character. And then another one, while we were talking about Modelo Negra, I neglected to mention Anchor Steam, which is one of my favorites.
How did you forget to mention Anchor Steam?
I should be getting advertising credits at this point, but I think that Sam Adams Boston Lager for me too, which I know is a beer you don't love, but
yeah, I'm sorry.
That's sort of again just both kind of within that wheelhouse of like malty but still really refreshing, because sometimes it is nice to have something that has a little bit more malt character to it. I like that. I sometimes find that's just what I'm in the mood for. I don't like having all golden beers. And I neglected to mention both of those, and they're both favorites of mine. So I've now remedied that.
Well, now with that said, we'll go right back to you.
I'm going to say yet another style of golden beer.
I was about to say, you're on your second. This is your second to last one.
This
correct?
is one, yes, and
Okay.
I'm lucky enough that I will be getting to try a kind of homebrewed spin of this style later that Ryan has brought with him, but coffee blonde. So not like a coffee stout, obviously, nothing heavy like that, but we have in Michigan, Odd Side Ales has a beer called Bean Flicker.
Great name.
Yeah. There's also another one here from out of Ann Arbor. Wolverine Brewing does one. It's actually, I believe, it's like a coffee lager, like a cold brew lager.
Okay.
And then Griffin Claw, which is really close to where I work, does they have one called Coffee Kolsch beer, which I just tried at their brewery, and I almost stopped there and got some because like coffee blonde plus Kolsch, like,
I mean, that's what else do you need?
It's perfect. But so yeah, for
you get
me,
a little bit of caffeine kicking it too.
Yeah, so particularly, if we're going to be grazing kind of all day, starting in the late morning, like after breakfast. It just works so well in the morning, and it's just the kind of, another thing that I love to do in the summer or in the sun is have iced coffee. If I'm not drinking alcohol.
Yeah,
and it brings the best of the two worlds together.
Yeah. Well, I will play out that a little bit. This was not on my list, and with you bringing that up, it made me think about it because I had one this morning, and I have one for each morning here. A hard cold brew. The ones I brought were from Pabst Blue Ribbon, who I feel like should advertise me at this point.
Is there another? Are there other brands you're aware of that make it?
Guinness does it as well.
Oh yeah, we tried one of those.
Guinness does do it as well. They're bigger cans, and honestly, a little pricier for a 4-pack compared to the 4-pack of a PBR. So
import price.
I'm gonna go with the cheaper one.
Well, but the Guinness ones are 16 ounces too, though, right?
They are, yeah, full 16 ounces.
So,
but the small ones are nice, though. I like that. It was a nice little thing before we really got into the Bloody Mary bar. So, which is another thing we do.
It really is an all-day affair.
It is an all-day affair. All right, so my next one, and I know it's going to be your number one, or it's going to be your next one, your final one, because you haven't mentioned it yet, is Oberon. And again, Oberon, as we talked about, you can kind of find it everywhere. A little more, I thought, actually. It is the summer beer. They do celebrations for it when it comes out.
Yeah.
They say that summer has officially started. Yeah. Unleash parties. They do little mini kegs.
It comes out in like early spring, but it's like the harbinger of like good weather in Michigan.
Well, it's like people when
it's been cold and miserable for a while.
Pumpkin spice coming out in July.
That's like the harbinger of cold weather. Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, no, it's a great. It's a light beer. A lot of places put orange in it, but you don't really need it.
I don't want it.
And if you're looking for something similar, I know you're gonna scoff at me, like literally will scoff. Blue Moon is a close cousin to it.
No, I agree. I
know you don't like Blue Moon as much.
No, I like Blue Moon
Okay.
fine. I don't like it as much as Oberon.
Okay.
Because I love Oberon, but like, yeah, I like Blue Moon.
Okay.
And I think Blue Moon's or like just generally like whip beers are phenomenal summery beach beers. Yeah, they're great.
I'll let you continue on.
Well, I was gonna say you stole my thunder. You you rat bastard. But
language.
Okay, you just named 2 of your beers in a row, and they both had swear words in them. So I don't want to hear it. Okay?
All right.
But yeah, so I'll expand on it a little bit then, because I do think Oberon's just a great, nice weather beer. They nail it when they say it. It's like has the scent and flavor of a sunny afternoon, or of a summer afternoon, or they say it's something like that. But in any event, but yeah, I think wheat beers, generally speaking, work really well. So wheat beers are great. I think Hefeweizen is really nice too.
Hefe's are good, yeah.
If you are into that kind of banana clove yeast character, like they're highly carbonated, light, super refreshing, and that like kind of fruity banana quality to me is really nice. But I would also say that more generally, other than Oberon, like Oberon is a pretty singular beer in nothing quite tastes like it in my book, but there are a lot of other great American wheat beers. If you have Three Floyds near you, Gumball Head is phenomenal. It has so most of Oberon's fruit flavor comes from their yeast choice.
Oh, really?
It's it's like the Bell's House yeast at higher temperatures has a kind of that fruity orangey character because they don't use any fruit in it. Okay. And most of their hop choices, I believe, are all kind of noble hops. So they don't really,
Okay.
You don't get a lot of fruit from the noble hops. It's all from yeast esters, but
that makes sense because I know with the Nipas, that's where a lot of the fruity flavor comes from.
We actually, Ryan, you'll be trying this later, but we harvested yeast from Oberon bottles, and Haley and I made a dark wheat beer using Oberon yeast, and we fermented it at high temperatures, and I at least definitely can taste the similar fruity kind of flavors.
Yeah.
And that's, again, we used all noble hops, so it's not coming from anywhere else.
Nice. I can't wait to try that.
But yeah, so I'm a firm believer that it's from, it's a really special yeast, and it makes that beer pretty singular. Mm-hmm. Bell's we should be getting a lot of money.
I'm about to say Bell's. Come on.
Yeah.
We'll let you know what our tab is.
But yeah, at least just free beer.
Yeah, free beer. I mean, just send us something.
To return to Three Floyd's Gumball, had a lot of really good American wheats, and this is a nice example. Well, sort of, it just balanced some fruity hop notes. So theirs in particular has this like really nice lemon kind of character to it from the hops that they use. I think Goose Island 312 wheat is another great option.
They were easy to find, at least, I will say, because they just got picked up by Anheuser-Busch or something like that.
Three Floyds is kind of hard to find, but getting
find.
easier. I think that the fresh time on my way home from work is going to carry it.
Oh, they're in Michigan. Good.
Dude, yeah, I know. Zombie dust.
Yeah,
I'm going to be able to get some. But, but yeah, so they're expanding, but 312 is definitely very easy to find. That's, again, another Midwest. Probably our localization in Michigan is fairly obvious in the beers that we talk about, because it's just so much easier to find beers that are near you.
Yeah.
Are there any other kind of wheat styles or wheat beers that I missed that you would like to mention?
Besides Blue Moon, which we already mentioned, I don't really think so. I mean, wheat beer is a pretty common one that I feel like a lot of microbrews, or like a kind of a more macro, like kind of like a Goose Island. Or not Goose Island. Yeah, Goose Island. That's the brewery. Goose Island does as well. So,
does Sam Adams do a wheat beer?
I think actually their summer shandy is technically a wheat beer.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
They're what's it called? Porch Rocker?
Sorry. Porch Rocker is a shandy, but they do a summer ale, which is a wheat beer, which they put something grains of paradise in it or something like that. I think that's a big ingredient that they put into it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
I do like that beer.
I like
Sam
that
Adams.
beer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I generally am a fan of most of Sam Adams beers, but
I honestly am too, except
Boston Lager.
It's the only one.
Give me all of your Boston Lager.
There you go.
Every
time I get a party pack, I'm just gonna give you the Boston Lagers.
Yeah, that's become for me like a go-to at my parents' house, because my dad always has their sampler pack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, since I took your thunder, do you have an honorable mention you might want to throw in there?
Actually, we I think, because I mentioned the Kolsch earlier, we kind of covered most of them. I think that Kolsch probably would have been my honorable mention.
Mm-hmm.
My other one would have been Session IPA, which I think you covered quite well.
Well, I do have one more. So.
I would say maybe, I think lighter Belgian styles, for the same reason as like Oberon and Hefeweizens. Like, if you like expressive yeast, some like kind of Belgian blonde, or if you make it yourself or find it at a microbrewery, a Belgian single, kind of lower ABV Belgian styles work really well too, because again, those yeast flavors are just really fruity and nice, and they're usually highly carbonated, so they end up just being really like poppy and refreshing. I really like those.
All right, so I have one more.
Okay. Is this your honorable mention?
This is my number one.
You have a number one.
I have one more. So, and you're gonna give me a scoff, but I don't care. It's not beer, but it's a malt beverage, and it is Twisted Tea. And when I was making this list, I was talking to my wife about it. She's like, "Twisted Tea isn't a beer." I'm like, "It's a malted beverage. Close enough."
It is not a beer. We're gonna have to make sure this episode is titled "Live from the Beach," or something, and not "Top 10 Beach Beers," because that would be a lie. I mean, it'd be a lie anyway, because we've talked about like 12 of them now.
I know, right?
Not 10, but
so for those who don't know, Twisted Tea you can find everywhere. It's put out everywhere.
Who makes it?
I honestly don't know. I think they're just kind of their own company for the most part. I'm going to take a quick glance at this, and it says, actually, I think it says Boston Beer Company. So I think it's actually part of Sam Adams. But
I would have bet money it was either Anheuser-Busch or the other. What's the other big one? Miller InBev.
Miller, yeah. So what this is, it's not even carbonated. It's a flat malted beverage. It's this hard iced tea.
Can I have a little sip before?
I'll let you have a little sip. Yeah. So what it is, it's just hard iced tea, or hard sweet tea, or not that sweet. A hard iced tea. I've had a few beers, and it has just like a hint of lemon in there and everything else. So it's actually more similar.
Really good.
I know, it's such a great summer beer. I could down it. It's 5%, so like you can get in trouble with it.
Yeah.
But it's so good. It's great to drink on the beach.
That is super
great
refreshing.
to drink when it's hot.
I might steal one later.
we bought. Well, it technically is all Mal's, but like I know she's not gonna drink them all, so we can share.
I'll put one of my Kolsch's in your cooler and then steal one. It'll be a trade.
All right. But yeah, this is my number one. I know it's kind of a cheat, but I don't care. deal with it.
So now you said no particular order. Is this your true number one?
This is my true number one, yes.
If you could only bring one drink down with you to the beach on one day, you would choose Twisted Tea over
Twisted Tea
anything
every
else.
time, yeah.
Interesting.
For,
Okay.
for a hot day on the beach, yes.
I would
It is a
not.
little cooler today, so it's a little different. But like,
well, yeah. Today we may as well have brought like some stout with us or
Some
something
Guinness,
to
geez.
stay warm, like a Russian Imperial to sip on. Yeah, it's not. Although it's getting better. I'm in the sun. You're in the shade.
Honestly, it's not bad now.
think
The
I'm
breeze
getting
comes through every so often,
I think
but
my
like, it's not
back's
too
getting
bad.
sunburned.
I don't know if you guys can hear the waves crashing and everything. Hopefully you guys can, because it is continuously. We're doing it up on top by the house instead of actually down on the beach, because we thought it would be just too loud on the beach with how they're crashing right now.
Yeah.
And they're actually they have gotten better, because this morning it was rough this morning. They were
Yeah.
going down.
Yeah.
You brought up something during the break, and I want you to
So
bring this
just
start
to
this
kind of
up.
bring this around, right? So I think with beach beers, like a lot of times when we do field research or top tens or whatever, we try and kind of bring it all together. I think with beach beers, we don't really need to discuss like what qualities make a good beach beer. It's crisp, it's refreshing, right?
Yes.
That's
it right there.
crisp, refreshing, bright flavors,
Mhm.
doesn't weigh you down, and sessionable, something
Yes.
that you can graze
Light.
on for a long period of time without getting yourself in too much
Yes.
trouble. So I want to talk about home brewing for a second. So you
That's
had
what we
said
do.
that you're going to be brewing a session IPA soon. I just want to hear kind of your general thoughts on if you want to craft a beer that is sort of beach worthy. What do you think about? What's your approach? What sort of things do you do to try and make a beer that meets those qualifications?
I mean, it's pretty much the two things you said. It's crispness and it's light. You want something.
But what do you do to get that?
So you want lighter hops, because you don't want something that's like super bitter, super strong in that aspect, because that can weigh you down after a while. Like we were saying with Too Hard or other IPAs.
Though on the other hand, you also don't want something that's sickly sweet. So
sure, true, yes,
well balanced.
So you do
hops,
want a lighter amount of malt and a lighter amount of hops to kind of balance each other out. And the other thing is it's the flavor aspect of it too. So like we were talking about that session IPA that I make, I put tangerine peels in it because it brings out a little bit more freshness to it.
Yeah.
You do a beer called Grapefruit Diet. I believe you brought that up last year, or was that
No.
that was the?
I don't know that we have brought it up. We go through it pretty quick.
Yes, you do, and that's my point. Like it's super crushable, easy to drink.
That's
and
another
that
low
nice
ABV.
flavor,
It's a cream ale with some grapefruit peel in the boil and a little bit of grapefruit juice.
nice crisp.
During
It's
kegging.
good flavor. I think that's perfect.
Yeah.
One beer that I actually have here today that we will be probably trying tonight or later on today is you talked about a coffee blonde, is the Dude, which is my version of a coffee blonde, which has the toasted coconut and white chocolate
Don't
in
talk
it as
about
well.
it too much in case we.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not gonna give anything away, but I want to at least explain what's in it. But it's a super light beer. I think it's just over 4%, so it's super light. But the flavor complex is there. You get a little bit of sweetness, and then that coffeeness comes in there and kind of bitters it this a little bit as well. So that, to me, we will have it probably later on today or tomorrow. But like, it's easy, nice beach drinking beer. And a lot of my beers, honestly, are easy drinking beers. I mean, you got that session, you got the Kolsch.
I don't really. Yeah, it's similarly. We don't brew a lot of big beers because generally, if I want to have, by the time we keg, we're probably kegging about 4 to 4.5 gallons since we ferment in kegs. So say we get 40 beers out of that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to have 40 of something that like
lasts forever.
Well,
and
yeah,
ever,
like
and
because we
and
want to
ever,
brew a
and
lot.
ever,
So
and ever.
like I don't want to have 40 of something that I can like I only want in certain scenarios and only want a little bit of and want to savor. Like we'll probably make big beers sometime, but we might just bottle them.
See, I do
Because I would prefer if I'm going to have
bottle
4
it.
to 5 gallons of something, I want it to be in the 4 to 5, maybe up to 6% range and not much higher, with the exception of like one IPA every fall. We'll probably make one like more traditionally like 7% IPA.
I think the only one I really make that's strong is probably the stout that I make. So, and I do that. That's the last
And
beer
you
I
sort of
brew.
need
And
that
it's
for
still-
flavor balance because the alcohol kind of brings something to the
And it's also the last beer because I brew through season, so I don't brew during actual Christmas time and winter here because this is a pain for me.
Yeah.
So it's the last thing I brew before I lock everything up. I winterize the hose so it doesn't freeze and do anything, and then don't have to deal with it anymore. So it makes it easier for me in that aspect. But like that one, and for those who listen to the Zelda episode, the Goron Spice Ale will be my 2 winter beers, and they are pretty strong. They are about 6%, 7%.
I mean, it's like mid.
That's a stout. That's a stout flavor profile right there.
That's not like Russian Imperial level. Strong,
it's not that. It's not that. What was that? Pumpkin.
14%.
No, that was 16%. That was aged in the Rumpkin.
Yeah.
The Rumpkin.
Yeah,
Yes.
Rumpkin,
That destroyed us.
That was a big boy. Yeah. Well,
what are you?
Well, I was gonna say I think we kind of ran the gamut just there of like a lot of the qualities. You know how to. You said basically like good balance, not too sweet, but also not like aggressively hoppy and bitter, or just really like not a lot of like. You don't want that blast of hop flavor that like sits in your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I had Bell's Hop Slam, I swear I could taste my first sip for 3 minutes, and it's like it's a wonderful beer. I like it, but I wouldn't take it to the beach.
No, nah.
Because you want something that hits you with flavor and then washes off your palate,
exactly.
right? So we talked about that. You talked about kind of adding some fruit or other bright flavors to it, or just getting those flavors from hops or yeast. Keeping the ABV low, keeping it sessionable. So I would say there's kind of, if I were to brew, and I might at some point, my kind of like ideal beach beer, it would probably be sort of a low ABV amber Mexican style lager. And so my approach would be just enough malt character for interest, but dry it out with some either corn or sugar or some kind of adjunct to give it a nice dry finish. Use like light noble hops, but good balance, kind of like I would up the bitterness a little bit just to kind of give it a crisper finish. And then, just, I personally wouldn't add any fruit, but I might try and add a touch of fruit flavor, maybe some lemon or lime for my hop choice.
Okay.
Maybe on, kind of layered on top of those nobles.
Are you describing my clone of Modelo Negro right now? I feel like you are.
Yeah, that was very good. Yeah. I liked that, but I'm thinking the lighter side of amber.
Okay.
I like something along the lines of more like the color of a Boston Lager, a Dos Equis amber. That kind of. If you're a brewer like an SRM of 8 or 9, kind of like just ambery enough to be called amber, kind of Vienna lager color.
Yeah, I think
that would be my ideal,
12.
and maybe aim for an ABV between 4.5 and 5. Just enough again to like have the feeling of character, but light enough to be sessionable. That's what I'm thinking is my ideal beach beer, and I'd like to try and brew it someday. Yeah. Maybe next year.
No, that sounds great. Like I said, it's very similar because like with that clone that I did, it was noble hops, but there was another hop in there that had a limey flavor to it, so it gave me the flavor I wanted.
Motueka? It's one of the New Zealand ones, right?
It is a New Zealand. I forgot what it's called. It's
I know that
Mazaka, something like that.
Motueka is like classic, or it's like known for lime flavor.
Well, there was one I almost went with, but it had more of a mojito lime, and I didn't want a mojito lime. I just wanted lime, which is why I went with Mazaka, Azaka, something like that.
I've considered. You might have. Did you use Azaka? That's not a New Zealand one, but yeah.
No, Azaka was a different one I did.
Yeah, okay.
But it sounded similar to that name. I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, and
I've heard that like Pacific Jade from New Zealand as well gives kind of that might be the mojito one you're talking about, but I've heard it kind of gives like a lime, but also like a black pepper, and I think that sounds kind of interesting. I might actually use that.
There you go.
In mine, we'll see, but yeah.
I think we got a good list here.
Brings it home.
Yeah, I think I'm ready to actually head back down to the beach. I know our wives are down there with the pups, and I would like to go down there see how mine is doing on his first day to the beach. So I know he hates water. Well, he hates rain, but he's actually went out into the lake. I was very surprised.
He's been around with Layla.
Yeah, so
he's been having a good day.
With that said, I think this is a great intro.
We hope you guys have enjoyed this little taste of Brewthers-In-Law in between seasons 1 and 2. We really wanted to do this one and get it out while we were at the beach and before season 2 starts in the fall because it wouldn't have been quite as topical.
Yeah,
then.
you can't think about summer beers when
Yeah.
summer just ended. You got to move on. But with that said, I think we should head out, take care of the dogs, and head down to the beach ourselves. But with that said, cheers.
Cheers. Until next time, my friend.
Until next time.